I never thought a single text could make me see everything so clearly. My name is Gideon, I'm 38, and I've been married to Marisol for 12 years. 12 years of marriage, shared responsibilities, shared bills, shared dreams. We built a life together, or so I thought. Marisol was always magnetic, the kind of woman people noticed without trying. She had a laugh that made you stop whatever you were doing, a warmth that could fill a room. I was quieter, reserved, focused. I worked as a landscape architect, ran my own small business, and prided myself on being reliable. I paid the bills on time, handled the house repairs, and made sure our home felt comfortable, even if it wasn't perfect. For the first several years, everything was easy. We were close in every sense, physically, emotionally, mentally. I would surprise her with weekend getaways. She would text me little notes during the day, and we would spend nights talking about our future. It felt effortless. But somewhere around year 7, I started noticing cracks I couldn't ignore. At first, it was small things. She would sigh when I tried to kiss her, laugh less at my jokes. Not because they weren't funny, but like she wasn't even registering them. She came home tired from work, sat in the living room scrolling through her phone while I tried to engage in conversation. I convinced myself it was just stress, that maybe life had caught up with her. So I cooked dinner, folded laundry, ran errands, small gestures to keep the connection alive. But the gestures didn't work. Nothing worked. Over time, the physical affection evaporated. Hugs became brief, kisses turned into nods, and the intimacy in the bedroom became almost non-existent. I tried to gently bring it up once, said, "I miss us." She gave me a thin smile and whispered, "I'm just not feeling it lately." It's not you. That lately stretched into months, and the cold clarity began to sink in. Something fundamental had changed. I never imagined I'd reached the point of absolute shock, but that day came, delivered in a way I could have never prepared for. I was in my office, reviewing some plans for a client, when my phone buzzed. A single text from Marisol. "Gideon, I need one night a month with him. I can't stop thinking about us. It's just once a month. It won't hurt anyone. You'll understand, right?" I stared at the screen for several seconds. My chest tightened, my hands went cold. I felt the world shrink around me. I had been loyal for 12 years, devoted to making her feel loved, safe, appreciated. And here it was, laid bare in one sentence. She wanted to sleep with someone else, just once a month, and expected me to accept it. At first, I felt my anger rising. I wanted to shout, to throw something, to shake her and demand some trace of reason. But I stopped myself. Calm clarity, I reminded myself. Anger would only give her the satisfaction of drama, and I wasn't going to give her that. Instead, I typed slowly, carefully, every word chosen. "I understand your desire, but I won't participate in this. It ends here." I hit send, and immediately felt the weight of the moment settle. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't explosive. It was final. The air in the room felt sharp, like a blade slicing through routine. I didn't need to explain myself further. My stance was clear. My loyalty and dignity were not negotiable. Marisol responded almost immediately, but her message wasn't words. It was silence. Hours passed before I saw her in the living room. She was curled up on the sofa, staring at the ceiling, lips pressed tight. Her usual laugh was gone, replaced with a hollow tension I hadn't seen before. She tried to speak, but I held up a hand. No words needed. The decision had been made. The boundary had been drawn. Over the next few days, I noticed a shift. She would watch me, waiting for some sign of weakness, some flicker of doubt. I didn't give it. I kept living my life as I had, attending meetings, visiting clients, taking long walks to clear my mind. I didn't avoid her, but I didn't chase her either. I let the quiet do its work. One evening, she approached me while I was reading on the patio. Her voice trembled. "Gideon, I thought you'd argue. I thought you'd beg. I didn't expect this." I looked at her, calmly, and said, "I don't beg for respect. You've made your choices. I've made mine." Her eyes filled with tears, but it wasn't just sadness. There was shock, confusion, disbelief. She had assumed I would bend, that 12 years of shared history would trap me into submission. She didn't realize that loyalty has a limit, and dignity doesn't come with compromise. Over the following week, the tension in our home thickened. Every glance from her carried a weight. Every attempt to speak was met with the quiet wall I had built. And yet, I noticed something interesting. She was starting to unravel. The power she thought she held slipped away as she realized I wasn't negotiating, I wasn't manipulating, I wasn't begging. I was simply present, unshaken. By the 10th day, she finally broke. She approached me in the kitchen, voice barely audible. I can't do this. I thought I could, but I can't ask you to accept that. I was wrong. I nodded once, without a word. I didn't celebrate. I didn't scold. I simply let the moment exist. The lesson had been delivered, and she had absorbed it fully. The contrast between her expectation and my calm response had broken the illusion of control she thought she had. Later that night, I reflected on the entire ordeal. It wasn't revenge in the dramatic sense. I didn't need to humiliate her, yell, or make her feel small. The quiet firmness of my boundaries, the unwavering adherence to my principles, did that naturally. I realized something essential. In relationships, it isn't the loudest voice that wins or the most dramatic action, but the clarity and integrity with which one stands. Marisol and I eventually had a long conversation, not to reconcile, but to understand. We acknowledged our history, the mistakes, the drift, and the desires that could no longer coexist. I held my ground, and in doing so, I preserved the part of myself that mattered: respect, dignity, and control over my own life. Walking away from what could have been compromise was harder than any fight I'd had before. But in that silence, I found a strange peace. I realized that the strongest moments in life aren't born from anger, vengeance, or chaos. They come from the unwavering adherence to one's own standards, the courage to face uncomfortable truths, and the calm clarity to say no when everything inside you wants to argue otherwise. In the end, she learned, perhaps painfully, that some things are non-negotiable. And I learned, quietly but powerfully, that respect cannot be begged for, nor can loyalty be exploited. You either honor the principles of a relationship or you lose it. And when you lose it without compromise to your dignity, you gain something far more important: yourself.